Hello, and welcome to the Heathen's Journey podcast. I'm your host, Siri Vincent Plough, and I'm so glad you're here. This is the show where I explore heathenry through a queer lens. We will be talking about traditional witchcraft, runes, folklore, and so much more. Join us, won't you, as we journey to the ends of the 9 realms and back. Welcome back to the Heathen's Journey podcast. This is the extremely intermittent podcast. I am so embarrassed that it has been, I think, since like February or something like that, since I put out an episode. Anyway, it's all fine because here we are with a lovely episode for your enjoyment. So thank you for all of the followers who are either just discovering this podcast now or who have been with me through the ups and downs. You know how I operate by now, I guess. So today I have a very special episode for you. But first, before that, I do want to make some announcements. So I have officially launched Lore Books and Supplies. This is a bookshop that I am hoping to open here in the Twin Cities region. Sometime within the next year, I'm hoping to have a physical location. For now, we're showing up at a lot of markets, and I have an online shop, which is linked in the show notes here. In that online shop, you can find the books from Kari Tauring, some remedies that I make, including my Nordic Seas bath tea, which is delicious and delightful, and some ritual oils that I have been busy crafting on my own. So yeah, go ahead and check that out. I hope that you enjoy. With that being said, I also did want to make a quick announcement that I am actually going to be starting and releasing a new podcast this fall. The podcast will be called Chaos and Cunning. And essentially it will cover a lot of the things that I don't feel like I can cover in this podcast because, the Heathen's Journey is pretty limited to my work with heathenry and the runes. And I have a lot more to my practice, and I have a lot of very interesting friends and people that I want to interview that, don't quite fit into the Heathen's Journey. So I am going to be putting my podcasting focus there for now. I will also, whenever there is something that relates to heathenry, I will be cross-posting to this stream. So the Heathen's Journey isn't necessarily going anywhere. It's just not my focus anymore. So you can definitely look forward to that in the future. But without further ado, I do want to get into our episode for the day. So this is another interview with Kari Tauring, my friend and mentor. She has officially released her new book called The Runes, A Pandemic Journey. And this is actually a rune book that focuses on the Younger Futhark. So buckle up. I am so excited for this interview to finally see the light of day. And just so you know, there's not a ton of information about any upcoming events or anything with her in this interview. And that is simply because I did this interview a very long time ago. And now the book is finally ready for publication and distribution. And of course, I do have copies in my shop, Lore Books, and that is linked in the show notes. All right, so here we go. Here's Kari. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm here with my good friend, Kari Tauring. We are talking about her newest book, which is The Runes, A Pandemic Journey. It is lovely. So this is kind of funny because we are recording in her house and sitting next to each other, and this is not normally how podcast recordings happen for me.
No,
so this
nor
is really,
me.
this is really a lovely thing we can do. So I'm so excited to talk about this book because there are so few resources out there for learning the Younger Futhark or learning about the Younger Futhark, and I think that it works so well as a meditative exploration of a lot of really difficult things in life. I think that, and I know that was the purpose.
It was born out of that.
Yes.
Difficult times.
Yeah. So let's dive in. In the introduction to the book, you talk about how you had never wanted to work with or never felt drawn to working with the Younger Futhark until the pandemic hit.
I think your first way of saying it was probably more accurate. I was like, no way, I'm not going there. So, because one of the things I love to do is translate names into runes.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a delight. I've been doing that as part of my spiritual work and practices since the early aughts. Well, actually, since the 90s.
Yeah.
When everyone was like, "Can you please do it for me?" Because I was like, "No, it's not for everyone." So through the 80s and 90s, and then when my kids started like going, we would like to know the rings too. I'm like, of course you would. It's like this, So
right.
It's just been so, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was born out of, it's called The Runes: A Pandemic Journey. The Runes: A Pandemic Journey. The Runes: A Deeper Journey. Here, I'm like, all right, you might know this one.
Yeah.
The Runes: A Deeper Journey is the second edition to the very first rune book, which was called The Runes: A Human Journey.
Yes.
And that came out at, we had the book release for that at Ingebrigtsen's.
Oh, fun.
But it was on the same day as the I-35W bridge collapse.
Oh my gosh. So that is some deep lore for people who are not from Minneapolis.
But it was world news. It was world news. So
it was a huge tragedy when the 35W bridge collapsed.
It was August. It was Lugnasad 2009. And we were at Ingebrigtsen's and we were doing our book release. Or was it 2007? The early aughts are a mixed up bag for me.
I think it was 2009 because I was returning to college.
No, it was 2007 because the Völva Stav manual came out in 2010 and the rune book came out in 2000. Hey, let's look in the cover.
Yeah, we can find that
anyway, we'll have to edit this.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Anyway. Oh, it doesn't say in here. Well, that's a mistake. Anyway.
Well, no, I thought I saw the copy.
Well, this version with the new title has a new ISBN and is copyright 2016. Oh, yay. Thank you.
There you go.
Do your job.
No, it's okay.
They are good at this. Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. So, so that would have been the August before I moved to the Twin Cities. So then when I moved here, everybody was talking about, the 35W bridge collapse. So that is a really interesting tidbit.
Yeah. It was one of those times of change and shock and grief.
Mm-hmm.
Minneapolis was feeling it and the whole world was feeling it with us because it was so freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so we took, when we realized what was happening at the same time as the book signing, then my stavers who were with me at the time, we all went out onto Lake Street and we just began singing the runes with Stav and Tane.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's just, there's photos of it and stuff. It's just so, and I was just so scared because my friend Jim McGuire lives on the other side of the river. And I'm like, he was planning to come. I think he was on a bus. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And that's awful too because that is such a heavily, that is like one of the primary commuter highways in the Twin Cities. So this book, I would say then, also kind of has some interesting turmoil connected with it, but not in the writing.
Well, the spirituality of the body needs expression in tragic times.
Yes.
And so this book was produced on a road trip to see my mother-in-law in Tennessee.
Amazing.
And we pulled each rune as ritual, and there was no timeline. This was for one person only. The first book in 2007 was for David DeYoung.
Wow.
He wanted it. I wrote it. I said, do what you want with it. And he's like, well, I think we could sell it. I'm like, well, let's see. And bloop.
And there it is.
And then it went, 2007. So it did come in, it got birthed into the community in a tragic moment.
Yes.
So that is very true too. The Elder Futhark are all, we get most of our understanding of the Elder Futhark through the old Anglo-Saxon rune poem.
Yes.
which was written the same time as the Lacnunga in around 890, 900, something around there, just before everyone knew Iceland was going to have to Christianize, or they were going to get trade barricaded.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that also explains a
yeah.
little bit about the conversion of Iceland too, because Iceland voted to become Christian.
No,
I am lying.
no. Sort
I'm
of.
misremembering is what I'm doing. I'm misremembering.
The people put it to a law speaker who went under the cloak for 3 days to come up with an agreement. Mm-hmm. And then they voted on the agreement, but 100 years after that, the Christians broke the agreement. So they voted on the agreement, and the year 1000 to the year 2000 was going to be the time of Christian taking, and it was supposed to be okay to practice in your homes without punishment. 100 years later, and they broke their word, which is the worst thing you can do.
Yes. Yeah. That's right up there with, in terms of like Nordic afterlife and stuff, like the, what is that hell called?
Oh, there's
that part of
an icy little place.
The icy lake, the frozen lake where you get stuck, and murderers and oathbreakers go there.
Yeah. It's where the nidings go, the shamed ones go.
Yeah.
So oath breaking was not good. So in the year 2000, we have, they're breaking, consecrated ground for the new temple. Now we don't all have to take Christianity. We can start working on the intersectionalities, which is what I did with the Primstav.
Yes, yeah. And so if for listeners and viewers, now that we're on
that's
YouTube
right
as well.
Shoot.
Like, just so you know, the like video version of this is going to come out much later because I'm still catching up on the backlog of YouTube episodes.
Oh, good for you.
Yes, I have been. I'll cut this out. But yes, I've been busy. I've been working with a virtual assistant who's helping me transcribe the backlog.
Oh, wow. Well done, y'all.
And it's like almost
done.
We're like,
oh, you guys, that's so important.
We're under 10 episodes.
Oh, thank you for doing that.
And like, yeah, and
that's good.
It was always a value of mine from the beginning to have that. But I didn't know how.
Burden the onus on the individual to do it is hard. Yeah, I haven't got mine either.
Yeah,
I try and do PDFs where I used to on my old on karitauring.com, which started in 1999.
Right. Yeah.
So really, it was my first book. So my first book started in 1999.
Yeah,
with karitauring.com, which was launched to house my creative writing.
Yeah,
it was this giant. People in 1999 didn't have that much storage space for their own stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, now I have
you say 1999, and I remember those were kind of the Wild West days of the internet. Like,
yes, I rode the wave because I had all these really brilliant people around me. Jim McGuire was one of them. Yeah, Jim McGuire, Dave Polashek, these people. David DeYoung. David DeYoung was there right at the beginning.
Like, website.
And he's like, here's, David was more on the creative side in 1999, but it was in 2002 that he asked me to write this rune book. And I said, why should I write a rune book? There's a bazillion rune books now. It's not like 1989 when there were 2 at my library, And he's all like, because no one says about runes like you do. You really have a poetic way of talking about the runes. And I'm like, all right. So I wrote him this little teeny tiny book called A Little Rune Book. And it was just like little rune haikus. Aww. And I'm like, here you go. And he's like, this isn't the book I want. I'm like, oh, well, what do you want? And he's like, I want all of it. I'm like, okay, let's devise a ritual.
Yes.
So we were heading down to spend Christmas with our my husband's mother, my wondrous mother-in-law. And I'm like, just started to pick a rune and then just journaled. Just picked a rune and journaled. And then I sent them to him. And then when I was done sending 24, he picked a rune and edited.
Wow.
And we did it by quarters and cross quarters, which is why it was done on Lugnasad.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah, it started on Yule 2006.
That's really beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really sweet.
Sweet. That's actually, it's interesting you say that, because a lot of people ask me, like, I'm teaching radical runes right now. And a lot of people ask me, like, how do I learn the runes? And I'm like, you really have to journal. You really have to write through it. And you know,
try and do it in a random way at first.
Yeah, because if you do it in order, then the first 8, that was a weird pronunciation, the first et really gets...
No, 8 is good. It depends on which side you're on.
Right. But if you do it in order, that first 8 really gets a lot of attention, and then by the time you're in the third 8 of the Elder Futhark, I've noticed, like, people start to lose steam. But if you do it randomly...
Well, that's how I did it. I did it randomly. I decided to do it randomly because runes are from nature. The Elder Futhark are from nature. I just want to have it be part of nature, my randomness around it. And, you know, and one thing that I did do that I never teach to do is I really showed my colonization of mind. And
you've done a lot of decolonizing work since. Nope.
Don't talk yet.
Okay, sorry. Decolonization of mind.
Yeah. So what I had to do back in 1988, what I did, I'd never recommend, because it comes from a colonized way of learning, which is to put them in ABC order and memorize them that way first. That's what I did. And so when we ritualized putting the runes back in their order, I was able to, I had noticed that I had done that, because when I was starting to try to memorize them in their Futhark strand, I was having trouble, even though I was doing good readings from them, because I knew each one intimately, but as a Roman would have taken them.
Gotcha.
So I had to decolonize that piece throughout the 80s and early 90s.
So are you saying that you put, like, Ansus first and then Berkano?
Yeah, I made a beautiful chart, and I put them in ABC order with the last few, and it was a brilliant way of memorizing them.
Right.
For a colonized mind who's just trying to memorize them. Mm-hmm. So then putting them into their given order, and maybe I wouldn't have understood this unless I had done it that way first. Mm-hmm. But once I put them into their Futhark order, I started to see how they were connected and had relationship to each other. And so it was a new loving discovery of relationship that I worked on throughout the 90s, so that in the early 2000s, this was the book I was living.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and why the top 2 reasons why I wanted to wholesale reject the study of the Younger Futhark. Mm-hmm. The top 2 reasons are this. First, the poems in Norwegian and Icelandic that we have of those 16 runes are really dreary and dark. And I had been making a birthday gift and a poetry exchange habit and readings out of translating people's names into runes. Mm. And so when I translate my name into the runes of the Elder Futhark, it means Kenna's, she knows and holds a torch. Ansu's, for the mouth that turns the wise ideas. Raido, she puts it in a cart. Isa's, she stops and waits for everyone else.
That's beautiful.
It is, isn't it?
Yes.
It's lovely. So in the Younger Futhark, the K rune goes from Kenna's to Kaun or Kreft. And Kaun means ulcer, and Kreft means cancer.
which is very dark.
It's like, I'm like, ew, bleh.
I don't want that. Yeah.
Yuck. So when I started to then foray into Viking reenactment, as a vulva, it's wonderful for me to be able to come into so many different communities. And when I go into the reenactment community, the runes that I ought to be using are the Younger Futhark. So what I have done is I usually show a chart of the runes for the Younger Futhark with the meanings.
Okay.
And then I show a chart with the Elder Futhark and their meanings and let people choose. And almost everyone always picks the Elder. And I'm like, now these predate the Vikings by several hundred years. And that's the lesson. So that comes to the second reason why I rejected and ignored the Younger Futhark, is that with the Elder Futhark, I can look my mother in the eye and I can say, it's pre-Christian, so it can't be anti-Christian.
Right.
It's pre-Christian. But then the 700s and 800s and everything, Christianity was pushing in, globalization, overpopulation, poverty. These things were just ramping up in Scandinavia. Christianity is really, really making it hard. You know, the Danes caved, and then the Icelanders, and then the Norwegians, and then the Swedes. So it was right awful times. So I don't blame them for having right awful poems.
Yeah.
So what did I do when it was my turn? So when it was my turn to experience these right awful times, you know, that's when this whole system just rose up to embrace me. All of the people, including yourself, who took my Saturday stretching stuff and my Younger Futhark stuff. So it wasn't like I hated the Younger Futhark either.
Right.
I just didn't want it. And that's different.
Yeah. It almost like, it's like, it wasn't the time.
So the softening around it really happened, you know, in 2006 when the first book came out, and I was doing Stav, and I was asked by Ruth McKenzie, the Kalevala vocalist of Minneapolis renown, and she asked if I would do the kulak and the different things for their service, the church service at Pilgrim Lutheran Church in St. Paul, which is why I'm pointing over there for everyone at home. It's just right over the river.
Right.
I keep forgetting you're there.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Yeah. So this guy, Peter Laudert, who is a Minneapolis native, his family had been in Minneapolis for many generations. Peter says to me, "Oh, do you know about Hofschild Stav?" And I said, "What?" He's like, "Oh," he thought for sure I was doing Hofschild Stav. And I said, "No, I'm doing Völva Stav. I've been doing Völva Stav since 2003. And this is what I do." And he's like, "You should know about Ivar Hofschild." I'm like, "Okay." So here's this Norwegian man. He's probably 10. No, he's probably 15 years older than me. No. So, but he's from near Oslofjord. Anyway, his family of origin had this relationship with the Younger Futhark. Yeah. And I'm like, well, that makes sense to me. His system was developed as a martial arts form by him as his addition. And I had already been studying Okinawan style karate and Tai Chi. So I didn't necessarily pursue it, but I did pursue the studies of his students, Graham Butcher, who is in England and teaches a Stav camp and everything still. He's one of the Irish teachers, and he came a few times to Minneapolis to teach. And his student, Mickey Tracy, she came to Minneapolis, and we did some beautiful, like, Younger Futhark rune studies. She introduced me to Graham's animal postures.
Oh, cool.
Where he went in, and so a huge chunk of this book is owed directly to Graham Butcher and Ivar Hofschild. And I gave him like a copy. I'm like, here's what it is. He goes, well, that looks like a lot of fun. So I was like, okay.
Yes, and you talk about them pretty extensively in the introduction.
Yeah,
too,
for
as
sure.
well,
Yep. And then Sean Brassfield Thorpe was another one who was a student, and he is I think he's on the Isle of Skye still. But I'm thankful for the internet. I got to like talk to these people, and I got files about Galder, and we exchanged Völva Stav methodologies, and so Völva Stav methodologies is the embodiment of the world tree in the body, which is unique to Völva Stav.
Yeah. And like I think that, so you're starting with this martial arts. I think that also, having read your book and looking at the Younger Futhark, it makes sense that would be the Futhark that we're thinking of, also like in the body from a martial arts perspective too.
As opposed to the elder?
Yeah, as opposed to the elder.
Only because all the postures can be made by one person, but the elder Futhark is no less martial artistic.
Right.
It is. That's what I grew up doing, was bow staff work with the elder Futhark.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's why I was like, who is this Norwegian?
Right. Yeah. Who is this person?
Yeah. So very fun.
Yeah. So in the pandemic, you kind of felt the call to work with the Younger Futhark, and they are like, it is a very bleak Futhark in a lot of ways. But one of my questions was, how was it a comfort to you? Or was it not a comfort? Like, was it more so reflecting reality as you were living it during these really difficult times? Or was there particular wisdom that you were able to find within this Futhark because of that kind of nature of it?
So I would say it didn't call to me.
Right.
Okay. So that's the first thing I would say. What happened was we had been doing runes in the body with our folk traditional dance group. We had been together making these manas runes, these old,
like manas shapes.
I know, isn't that cute? And when the pandemic said we couldn't go to our dance groups anymore, and it shut me down, I thought, well, how am I supposed to sing Koma'ala, which is the invocation song that we've been singing since 2003? Koma'ala, alle singeneo, kifu manahem. What happened was that it became an exploration of how do we dance our rune dances in this singular system. So I pulled all my files out from all the times that Mickey came and Graham came, and the stuff that Peter and I did together in North Star Stav and all of these things. And I just I did a fun thing. I put a poster up with all the 16. And viewers at home, if you want to see how this works, just go to karitauring.com and go down the media list until you see the Norway House button.
Okay.
And then you go to Nordic Movement. It's all the stuff that you and Cherie and all these people we were doing. I started doing the Younger Futhark in the body. And so because we had started it already, right, I was able to just leap into, here's what the body does now.
Right.
Here's Monahem now. Here's Monas. So we're just doing this.
Yes.
Here's, can we use Gifu? Can we use it? How do we use it? By the 1800s, Gifu, by the 1600s, Gifu meant poison. And it also meant marriage. So there's like interesting things. Yeah. So like reclaiming Gifu, because Gifu and Wunyo are both lost you know.
Yeah.
But then this book had to be like, where are you? You who's missing? How can I? So it's the start of the incorporation of the search for reciprocity and joy among these sad runes. And as I went through, so each chapter is set up where you have a picture of me doing the rune in the little place back where I spent all my COVID time.
Amazing.
I mean, that's how I'm like, let's do it here. And then it tells you like an embodiment exercise. Then it tells you a little bit about what Hofschild butchers little keywords: hoggle, Heimdall, ram butts. Hoggle, Heimdall, ram butts. So during COVID, I'm like, ram butts. You know, I'm like, oh, which ram are you? Ugh, I got real feisty, and it was fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. It's good. It's a good embodiment exercise for shaking off the shock.
Yep.
So as it, you know, so combining the doing of this and all of those ways, Zooms and daily exercises and a chart and all the ram butts was up on the chart, you know, and artwork and just everything we did to stay sane.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
To start living it. And then this book is the result of all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting too, like, your writing in the book is very deliberate and like looking at things from a lot of different angles. And I think it's a very good companion to your Primstav poetry book, The Day Begins at Sunset.
Thank you.
Because this was also very much written in the pandemic. You were kind of, and there's a previous episode where we talk about this. So I'll link that in the show notes so that people can
and I'll
go
link
back
this on karitauring.com.
Yes.
And then we'll have the little links.
I would definitely recommend, if you're interested in some more of that like pandemic embodiment and like kind of thinking about this intersection of, you know, paganism and and early like Christianity and
like the pain of conversion
and like all of that,
what was saved during the pain as a balm to the people, you know, those kinds of things. Yeah,
it really comes through. It's a lot.
It's a retrospective, and this is my capstone,
basically. Yes, the last several years.
Yeah, the up to 2023, 2024. This is it.
Yeah,
everything from this way out is going to be mostly about swan bones and
beautiful
ram horns.
Beautiful. I did have one question for you that I remember. So I know that a lot of people in general are, you know, talking about, you know, working with Odin or following Odin. I know that Odin was the first Nordic deity that really appeared for me. And in the book, you talk about how Odin really behaves badly as being the highest god. And that actually was really beautiful because that is also how I kind of read a lot of this mythology. So, you know, thinking about Odin tricking people or, you know, breaking certain oaths, like he does break oaths in the mythology, in the stories. And you know, people blame Loki for Ragnarok. But but who drives it?
Whose shield is it? That's
whose
the
shield
question.
is it? Yes, and it feels to me much more like Odin's shield.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, it's totally Odin's shield.
Yeah, so let's like dive into that a little bit. Okay. So, like, yes, so like Odin not necessarily being the like. So
I think about Odin in the same way that Maria Kvilhaug does, and I have done that before I even knew that she was doing this stuff.
Yes.
Maria Kvilhaug is brilliant.
Yes.
If any chance you get to support her work, do it. We need more of her. anyway, so Odin means the spirit, and I have been translating names into runes and names into English and different things for a long time, just as part of my study of this Norse mythology. And so when you think about how Frigg is the beloved, and she's the keeper of an Ingard that contains a tripartite soul being called spirit, will, and holiness. And when spirit, will, and holiness work together, they create humans.
Beautiful things happen
when some beautiful things, some, but change. They stay together and change. And so then when the spirit becomes more willful than willing, when it breaks apart from holiness, when it ignores the advice of the beloved, a lot of times things then happen that are, the betrayal of Gunnlaug, the rape of Rind, all of these, different, the deal at the gates from the big wall builder.
Yeah.
And Loki's as a blood brother of the spirit, there's nothing that Odin and Loki that doesn't reflect one another. So you can't take them apart either.
Yes. Yeah.
So Völva Stav is a methodology of embodiment that asks us to pull spirit, will, and holiness back into the body. Right? Whoa, Willy, way, whoa, Willy, way, whoa, Willy, way, and just pull it in. And it's helpful, I think, for people to think about it in those terms rather than having, or maybe in addition to having an understanding of these entities as greater than us, bigger than us, out there somewhere to be reached or to be, placated or whatever. There's no shield out there for you that you don't already carry in your body.
Yes.
And that's the important piece with Odin. He knows he's going to have to give his body, and everyone else knows they're going to have to give up their immortality. They have to give up the body so that you can go back into wholeness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
interesting stuff.
And then in the book, you also talk pretty extensively about Odin's son who survives, and kind of defeats
several of them.
Yeah, several of them. So let's talk about them.
And which one are you talking about?
Yes, let's talk about them and how they're the ones that survive, and kind of these Ragnarok stories as as sort
cautionary
of teaching
tales.
And cautionary tales.
Yeah, cautionary tales and tales of quietening and of action. Both. Yeah, when we're in these Ragnarok times, it's important to quiet yourself down. So there's one of the Jotnar is Grid, whose name means truce.
Yes.
And she and Odin have so the spirit and truce have a baby named Broad Perspective, Vidar.
Yes. I was thinking of Vidar specifically.
Vidar.
Yes.
So, and Vidar is born to rule the next world. Balder and Frigg, Odin and Frigg had Balder, and Balder is killed from deceit by blind strife. Hod is blind strife with deceit, as Loki's deceit and blind strife. And so Balder has to go into Hel.
Yes.
And so Hel builds a big hall for Balder and Nanna, and it's glorious and shining and everything they need it to be. And there's cats that carry messages back and forth.
Oh, lovely.
From Nanna to Fulla, and Fulla to Frigg, and all those, and then there's this group that you mentioned earlier who never really get unstuck. Even at Ragnarok, they don't get to fight for anything. They just get to be gnawed at by the worms, because nobody wants them to fight
Right.
for them, because that means you take on their shill. You take on their shill.
Ooh.
I know, creepy, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when people say, "Oh, I've got your back," and I'm like, "All right, well, we need to talk about what that means to you, because I don't want any killing in my name."
Right.
I don't. So that's one of my poems in here is about the shame, the shame of George Floyd's murder, of our culpability, of our, little things we say, everything, and the Primstav as well.
Yeah.
So anyway,
they really that was one layer of depth, especially as somebody who has worked with Odin for a long time. And that's always how I've kind of understood him. Like once I, was like, oh, this deity is, showing up for me. I want to read more about this. And then I read the myths and I was like, oh, so like, this is a cautionary tale. And I think that is one really important aspect of understanding the myths. Because the gods are not infallible in a lot of pagan mythologies.
It's as important to know how to read the Eddas and Sagas as it is important to know how to read the Hebrew Bible.
Exactly.
There is huge amounts of cultural stuff that you have to know about, or you cannot interpret the book.
Right.
And so that is, again, Maria Kvilhaug is brilliant about bringing that cultural material and everything together to help people really read these stories. And she draws on Snorri Sturluson's poetic Edda, which is literally the book that says, here's what the things mean, y'all.
Right. I mean, that was his whole point.
It was his whole point. It's like, he knew all of those guys. His Snorri's lineage in Iceland goes back to pre-Christian times, and the remembering of the deal making, and the remembering of the hiding of the Eddas, and the remembering of the oral traditional poetry, and then in 1200, it was like, we're as a culture getting too far away from knowing how to read this.
Yes.
Because there was the competing narrative still of Christianity and those myths. And those myths of Christianity often included the Greek myths because of the Greek influence.
Yeah.
The book of Luke, the Greek doctor.
Oh my gosh, I have never put that together.
Yeah,
and now it makes perfect sense.
So it's this huge thing, and everybody needs to just hold their horses a minute and figure out, what poetry are they talking about? What creation story are they talking about? Who are the people? When was it written? They need to do their work. People need to do their work in all the religions of the world, who will say that this book is holy, and you need to tell. So Snorri told us what was holy, because he told us what it meant.
Yes.
As like literal lists. Okay, here are the tree words for men. Here are the tree words for women. Here are the tree words for, people, humanity. All the trees. My gosh. Here's So here's what wind means.
And that's so interesting too. Like just a kind of a sidebar. I am on the Nordic Animist Patreon. So Rune Harjo's Rasmussen's Patreon. And there's a book club. That's like the Animist book club. And for February, we read the Eddas. And
which ones?
Both of them, the prose and the poetic.
Of which, like the whole of it for February, the whole of the Eddas and the whole of the prose Edda? Or did you choose?
We did all of them. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's fast.
It was. So
that sounds like Catholic, when you have to memorize all the books of the Bible.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Months time.
Well, and it was pretty relaxed. Nice. Like it wasn't like you have to come with, your full notes. There won't be a test, like none of that stuff. But one of the things that we talked about was rereading. Everybody on the call had reread had read the Eddas before, so they were rereading them for this month. And one of the things
that's a lot of reading.
Yeah, and one of the things that I noticed in my reread was that I was so much more tolerant of the lists of names than I had been the first time I read the prose edit, especially because from an animist perspective, I was like, oh, I need to know this. I need to know
what it means
relationally and what it means and all of this stuff. And I think that the first time I read the prose edda was back in, I think, like 2016, something like that. And I was just getting started. You and I weren't working together yet. And
no,
there's a thing of reading medieval Icelandic poetry and prose that is, it's not like reading something today. It's not like reading a modern translation.
No, it's a lot like reading, and this is what I say to some people, it's a lot like reading the book of Ephesians in the Hebrew Bible about who begat, who begat, who begat, who begat, who, about all that stuff. It was like a lot of names. And so I always tell people what you need to do is take each name and research it. And then figure out what it means.
Right. Because the name is important. And like learning it means something. Because it's different. It's important.
To say Odin and his brothers, Vili and Ve, walked across Folkvanger, that's something that draws a certain thing. But then you say Spirit and his brothers, Will and Holiness, walked across the valley of the people, the field of the folk. Has a different meaning.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's exactly how I've always taught when people want to read the Eddas.
When they want to get in, they want to dive in, you have to
go a little at a time, which is why I'm glad to hear it was a reread of everything in 1 month.
Yeah. For most of us, it was a reread. I think that it was, I personally, I'll admit this, was not able to finish both of them.
I wouldn't have thought so. Month. How you could do that and anything else.
I have so much.
I mean, that life. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I'd have to dedicate, 2 hours a night.
Yes, I have.
To that. That's a lot of reading.
It's a lot of reading. Thank you.
Yeah, and all y'all who didn't maybe finish.
Yeah, right.
That's a lot of reading.
It's a lot of reading. But each poem, each story is so rich that even if you don't finish the whole thing, I think that you get a lot out of reading them. You know?
And one of the things that's fun to do sometimes at the Northern Women's Retreat, we did readings out of different versions.
Yes.
It was super fun because we had Carolyn Larrington, we had Maria Quillhaug, we had my Hollander with all my notes. We had Jackson Crawford. So we took 2 verses from each.
Yeah.
And then the English translations, we did, or I did this, I did my Norwegianified Old Norse, and then we took turns reading them. It was fun. So that's something. And people ask, how do you know if you have a good, like a good Edda? Like a version, what version?
Yeah, what version?
And I'm like, well, again, what I would have done differently is look in the very first, in the Vospa, in the very first stanzas, and when it says the sun knew not which, if it says he, then it's a bad version, because some of those folks gender switched the moon and the sun.
Oh,
Hollander gender switched them.
Oh.
He for the sun and she for the moon.
Right.
Slipped it in there thinking no one will notice. Well, I've done things like that too, like slipped things in. I'm not complaining so much, but it's a good thing to catch. And it goes right back to the whole thing of to resist the urge to memorize the Futhark by putting them in ABC order.
Right.
Because it comes from the same impetus.
Right. It's, because, and I know this too from like doing, work in like witchcraft fields, and I have a lot of friends who have, different traditions, and it's very, very common for the moon to be feminine and the sun to be masculine. Especially like very, very common. And so Like, but it's such a highlight, I think, of, really diving into Nordic culture, of like accepting that, oh, even though this is the prevailing opinion or this is the prevailing interpretation around me, I'm diving into this root culture.
Yeah.
And so that means understanding within myself and finding a way within myself to see the sun as feminine and see the moon as masculine.
I think it would be good for people to get this book because
Absolutely.
it has a really pretty good what you call it when the index of terms.
Yeah.
So sun goddesses, the following are some examples. This is on page 141. The following are some examples. Suna, sometimes Suma, may date to the Scandinavian Bronze Age. Lithuania, and associated with Nerthus. Saula, sun goddess of Latvia, Lithuania. Sekhmet, Egyptian sun goddess. Kautha, Etruscan sun goddess. Kultepe, Anatolian sun goddess around 7th century BCE. So this is like and Japanese sun goddess is in there. Walu, Australian Aboriginal sun goddess, and then the Cherokee sun goddess. There's like a list.
Yeah.
In there. So yeah, I'm not surprised that there's. So I think one of the things that is cool about your generation, if I may.
Yes, please.
As here,
some elder wisdom coming in.
One of the things that's cool about your generation is that list would be interesting, but not necessary, because if someone says their gender is switched, you just go, okay.
Yeah.
Whereas my generation still had to check it with the academic patriarchs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's very cool.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. And it takes a while, I found, and we've talked about this before, not on air, but like we've talked about this before generally about how like once you feel that switch, like in the Nordic, like I kind of felt like once I felt the sun is feminine in my own internal
embodiment of the Saula rune, which goes like this.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Once I felt that sun is feminine for myself, I was like, oh, I'm in it. Mm-hmm. Like it felt like such an important switch into being part of Nordic root culture.
Right. There's a song and it says sol ut sol inne sol I hjärta sol I sinne sol bara sol, soul in, soul out, soul everywhere, sun only sun. Yeah, so
beautiful.
It's all the embodiment of it. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I think that's like why your work is so interesting, because I also know that there is a tendency still for us to really take academics into like a much higher,
authoritarian views on things, and that's
is necessary.
Yeah, that's something you'll never get with me. Anyone who knows me or studied with me will tell you that that I don't teach in an authoritarian way. Mm-hmm. I just teach what I know. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to study with me, it's great if you don't practice something else and then bring it to me as though I'm supposed to know, because I can't do that. And then it's just all right.
Yeah.
And then everyone guides themselves. Lead yourself to yourself. And that is the axiom of Norse culture that I adhere to as best I can.
Yeah, it's an interesting. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and this kind of came up as I was reading, as I was like reviewing the book last night and everything, was the balance of individualism and community mind that you see, because it's like everybody has the responsibility to lead themselves back to themselves. Everybody has that responsibility and bears that. But we're also all connected by this web of weird.
And yes, both and. Yeah. That's my friend Sarah Axtell. She would say both and. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So both of the things are very important. And I think also, especially like in the pandemic, a lot of people had to really redefine what community meant for them, as well as, okay, well, who the heck am I? If you're spending that much time with yourself, after having been
have a self-study plan in place before COVID, it was thrust upon you.
Yes, definitely. And I think that's
Yep.
like, it was really important for me. I mean, I know that I changed pretty dramatically, like over the course of COVID. But
well, there was COVID and the isolation, and there was the uprisings in Minneapolis that put another layer of trauma, and the impetus to want to do something but not being able to hardly even go out of your house to help anybody.
Yeah.
And coping with all that stuff was really, really hard. So so that's why the book, has a lot of remindings of, I think that's part of it. The book and both the poetry and the rune book have a lot of remembering memories of those trauma years.
Yes. And it also is such a good reminder of like, we've been here before.
Yeah. Humans
have been here before. Yeah. We can learn from our own meditation. We can, learn from one another. I think another beautiful thing about the pandemic actually was people learning how to communicate when you couldn't be in the same space.
Oh, for sure.
Learning new ways of communication, new ways of building community that wasn't...
New ways of dancing alone together.
Right.
That's all those Norway House videos are all pandemic year videos.
Yeah.
That's what I was working on all that time.
Yes.
And so I still like the 6 foot distance dances. I think it's important for people to remember that, we don't need to be close to be in contact.
Yes. Yeah.
We don't need to be touching to be in contact. Yes.
All right. So we have been talking for quite a while. Yes. Let's sort of wind things down. If there were, I can't believe I haven't asked this question before. This might be a whole nother thing. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I know. I love it. I really do.
Question. So I know that people will be asking, do you intend to read with the runes? How has your study of the Younger Futhark changed how you read with other people? I know that a lot of people who listen to the podcast are interested in becoming a rune reader.
Oh, sure.
But I also know I have a little bit of resistance to reading with them directly. So I'm just curious to hear what your thoughts are on that.
Well, first of all, I applaud your listening to yourself when there's some reticence. I'm glad I listened to myself when I had reticence about going into it because it's heavy. And I think, so what inspired me to really write the book and finish the book was that my husband made me all these little 16 rune sets to sell with the books.
Beautiful.
I'm like, I can't tell people to read runes with this. I can't do that. So it has been this wonderful sort of like moving it. So that's not the title, but the subtitle, moving into the Younger Futhark. Moving into it. We're moving into it.
Yes.
And we're not so in terms of spool or prophecy, I can use either set. It's okay.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for this lovely conversation today, Kari. We're about to go hop in a sauna. I'm so excited about that. And for everybody listening, I hope that you have a blessed day and stay weird. All right.
WYRD. Oh.
Yes, exactly. And